Hi everyone. Today we are going to see about cord prolapse. I am Beulah Juliet, working as a lecturer in Triple M College of Nursing. Objectives of cord prolapse. At the end of the class, the student will be able to define cord prolapse, mention the causes of cord prolapse, discuss the types of cord prolapse, explain the diagnosis of cord prolapse, enumerate the management of cord prolapse, and list the complications of cord prolapse. So, these are the objectives of cord prolapse. You can see the definition of cord prolapse. So, it is the abnormal descent of the umbilical cord by the side of the presenting part. So, cord prolapse is defined as the abnormal descent of the umbilical cord by the side of the presenting part. So, the presenting part here is the part of the baby that leads the way through the birth canal. So, here the presenting part may be baby's head, buttocks, or maybe feet presentation or shoulder presentation, anything. So here the umbilical cord will be descending down by the side of the presenting part. So this is about the definition. See the incidence of cord prolapse. So the incidence of cord prolapse is about 1 in 300 deliveries. Incidence is reduced with the increased use of elective cesarean section in non-cephalic presentations. So nowadays this cesarean section is increased than attempting for normal delivery. So due to this cesarean section, there is the incidence is reduced nowadays. Causes of cord prolapse. So the common causes of umbilical cord prolapse include premature rupture of membranes and also preterm labor, multiple gestational pregnancies such as twins or triplets, then polyhydramnias, it is an excessive presence of amniotic fluid, then malpresentation of fetus. Malpresentation in the sense it may be a breech presentation or any other presentation also. So these are some of the causes of cord prolapse. I repeat, premature rupture of membranes, preterm labor, multiple gestational pregnancies, polyhydramnias, and malpresentation of fetus. Next, we can see the types of cord prolapse. So, in the types, there is occult prolapse, cord presentation, and cord prolapse. So, in case of occult prolapse, the cord is placed by the side of the presenting part and is not felt by the fingers on internal examination. So, here in case of occult prolapse, the cord will be placed by the side of the presenting part and we cannot feel the cord when we insert our fingers during internal examination. Whereas in case of cord presentation, the cord is slipped down below the presenting part and is felt lying in the intact bag of membranes. Okay. In case of cord presentation, the cord will be slipped down below the presenting part. Next is in case of cord prolapse, the cord is lying inside the vagina or outside the vulva following the rupture of membrane. So we can see the cord in case of cord prolapse. So these are the main three types of cord prolapse. So the first one is occult prolapse, second one is cord presentation, and third one is cord prolapse. Let's see the picture of this cord. So the first one here is occult prolapse. So you can see the cord lies at the side of the presenting part in case of first one. In the second one, that is cord presentation, where the cord will be present in front of the presenting part. So in case of this second type, we can feel the cord pulsation when we do the internal examination. Then the third one, that is cord prolapse. Here the cord will be present outside the vagina. So we can see with our naked eye itself here. So these are the main three types of cord prolapse, that is the occult prolapse, cord presentation, and cord prolapse. Next is the etiology of cord prolapse. In the etiology, first one is the malpresentation. So the common being transverse and breech presentation, especially with flex leg or foot link presentation. So in this type of presentation, this cord prolapse is common. The next etiology is contracted pelvis. So the contracted pelvis where the fetal head cannot descend, so the cord slips down. So instead of the baby's head to descend, due to this contracted pelvis, the baby's head cannot descend. So the umbilical cord will be slipping down. Then in case of twin pregnancy and also in case of hydramnios, then comes the placental factor, that is minor degree of placenta previa with marginal insertion of cord or long cord. So these are some of the etiological factors. Then iatrogenic in the sense in case of low rupture of membranes and also manual rotation of the head and also during version. So these are some of the etiological factors of cord prolapse. So here malpresentation, contracted pelvis, twin pregnancy, hydramnios, placental factor and also the iatrogenic causes. Some of the pictures. So first one is the foot link presentation. Next is the contracted pelvis. Diagnosis of cord prolapse. So already we have seen the types of cord prolapse. So based on the type, we can diagnose this cord presentation or cord prolapse. So the first one is the occult prolapse. So this occult prolapse is the, in this case, cord is placed by the side of the presenting part. So here it is very difficult to diagnose. The possibility should be suspected if there is persistence of variable deceleration of fetal heart rate pattern detected on continuous electronic fetal monitoring. That is, while doing this NST non-stress test, if we detect any fetal heart deceleration, in that case we can suspect whether there is any chance of occult prolapse. The next type is the cord presentation. So we have seen already the cord presentation is the cord is slipped down the presenting part and is felt lying in the intact bag of membrane. So the cord will be lying above the presenting part. So the diagnosis is made by feeling the pulsation of the cord through the membrane. So while doing this internal examination, we can feel the cord pulsation over the presenting part. So through that we can detect the cord presentation. Cord prolapse. So the cord is directly palpated by the fingers and its pulsation can be felt if the fetus is live. So in case of cord prolapse, the cord will be lying outside the vagina. So we can feel the cord. The cord pulsation may cease during uterine contraction, which however returns after the contraction passes off. So when the mother is in labor, she will be having the contractions. So during contractions, the cord pulsation may cease for some time and will return back to normal after the contraction. The fetus may be alive even in the absence of cord pulsation. Hence, prompt ultrasound guidance for cardiac movements or auscultation of fetal heart rate should be done before fetal death is declared. So we should not think whether there is no pulsation, the baby is dead like that. We should confirm it with the help of ultrasound. So this is about the cord prolapse. So we have seen how to diagnose this occult prolapse, cord presentation and cord prolapse. Let's see about the management. So once the diagnosis is made, no attempt should be made to replace the cord because the membranes inevitably rupture leading to the prolapse of cord. If immediate vaginal delivery is not possible or contraindicated, cesarean section is the best method of delivery. So, until cesarean section, the mother should be placed in Trendelenburg position to minimize the cord compression. On rare occasion is a multi para with longitudinal lie having good uterine contraction with the cervix 3/4, that is 7 to 8 centimeter dilated without any evidence of fetal distress, watchful expectancy can be adapted till full cervical dilatation. So these are about the management. So the priority should be done. That is, the mother should be positioned in Trendelenburg position to minimize the cord compression. So it will avoid the fetal distress also. Protocol is to be guided by the baby, whether it is living or dead, based on the maturity of the baby and also the degree of dilatation of cervix. That is alive, immediate safe vaginal delivery is not possible, or if it is contraindicated in the sense, we have to go for the first aid management, that is to minimize pressure on the cord. So, till that time, the patient is prepared for assisted delivery. If an oxytocin infusion is on, this should be stopped. Then, IV fluids and oxygen by mask is given. Bladder filling has been done to raise the presenting part of the compressed cord till such time the patient can be delivered by LSCS or vaginally. The bladder is filled with 400 to 750 ml of normal saline with a Foley's catheter. The balloon is inflated and the catheter is clamped. The bladder is emptied before the cesarean section. So, in order to avoid compression of the cord, this balloon filling is done prior to cesarean section. So during the cesarean, the bladder will be emptied. Step is to lift the presenting part of the cord by the gloved fingers introduced into the vagina. So the midwife or the doctor will be inserting their gloved fingers through the vagina in order to lift the presenting part of the cord so that the cord cannot be compressed here. And the next one is the postural treatment, that is elevated Sims position with a pillow under the hip or Trendelenburg or Nietzsche's position is adapted till the delivery. And the next one is replace the cord into the vagina to minimize vasospasm. Vasospasm in the sense a constriction of blood vessels. So in order to avoid that, sometimes replacement of the cord into the vagina is done. About the Trendelenburg position. So this position is adapted in order to prevent the pressure of the cord. Position. So these positions help to prevent pressure on the cord by lowering the presenting part. So next we can see the definitive treatment, whereas in case of cesarean, it is the best treatment when the baby is sufficiently mature enough to survive. Just prior to making the abdominal incision, the fetal heart sound should be auscultated once more to avoid unnecessary section on a dead baby. So here in case of cord prolapse or presentation, the baby is there is more chance for fetal distress and also for the death of the baby. So in order to avoid unnecessary cesarean, we have to confirm the fetal heart sound before doing the cesarean section. The operation should be done quickly up to the delivery of the baby. Safe vaginal delivery is possible in cases if the head is engaged, delivery to be completed by forceps. If breech, the delivery is to be completed by breech extraction. And in case of transverse lie, it should be completed by internal version followed by breech extraction. If the baby is dead, labor should be allowed to proceed, avoided spontaneous delivery. There is no need of unnecessary cesarean section whether the baby is dead. So this is about the management. Next, we can see the prognosis of this cord prolapse. In case of fetal, the fetus is at risk for anoxia due to mechanical compression by the presenting part. The prognosis is related with the interval between its detection and delivery of the baby. And the delivery is completed within half an hour. The fetal mortality is reduced to 10%. In case of maternal, the maternal risk are incidental due to emergency operative delivery. Operative delivery involves the risk of anesthesia, blood loss, and also infection. Of this cord prolapse. So, this cord prolapse may lead to fetal distress. So, here the baby cannot receive enough oxygen, so that may leads to fetal distress. Then, intrapartum fetal death. So, this is the death of an infant after onset of labor, but before they are born. Next is neonatal asphyxia, where the infant does not receive enough oxygen when born. The next one is early neonatal death, where the baby dies in first 28 days of life. So these are some of the complications of cord prolapse. So today we have seen about the definition of cord prolapse and what are the types of cord prolapse, the etiology, management, and also the complication. Hope everyone has understood the topic.